Welcome to the homestead. So I want to make biochar for use in composting, use in the new raised bed gardens we have to supercharge the compost in the garden bed, and we're going to use it in the chicken coop when we get chickens to help absorb moisture. We also use it in the winter with the underneath the quail, when we park the quail tractors for the winter to help keep the smell down. So what biochar is basically just wood burnt without oxygen. So I've tried it a couple of times by taking the free mulch that I can get, that somebody illegally dumped down on the power line easement down the street, and put it in this old trash can, build a fire around it, heated it up, and it makes some biochar, but it also leaves most of it not biochar. Here's some notes from an old live stream I threw in there. But yeah, so we're gonna dump it out. We're gonna try again, and this time we're gonna put a little bit in at a time and see if we can't get rid of a lot of the water out of it, and see if that helps. So I got a pretty decent bed of coals going there and some other stuff. I'm burning trash that would otherwise end up in a landfill. It's pretty warm over here. It's a pretty hot day. So let's get the next shovelful, or next pile put in there. Like I said, I'm trying to drive the water, trying to get all the water out of that mulch as I turn it into biochar without burning it. So I'm going to be putting it in a little bit at a time. It's been 15 minutes since I threw the last batch in. I'm kind of letting it cook down the coals around it. That way it's easier to get close to it. And I'll scoop some of these coals from old fires around it too as I go. But you can see a lot of either smoke or steam, I hope you can see it on the camera, coming out from under the trash can lid. So let's pop that puppy off and see what we got going on in there. See how well I can get the camera in there without melting it or melting me. But yeah, you can see we're starting to get some biochar. We even got a little bit of flames in there with the lid off because it's dry enough in there. So before that burns too much, let's get the next scoop on. Reset the timer for 15 minutes and then check on it again. So I was doing the editing, I noticed that I lost the audio for me explaining what biochar is. So while this is sitting here, let me explain it to you. And the stuff in here isn't done. Finish watching the video and you'll find out why. But biochar is like this piece of here. So it's had everything but the carbon cooked out of it. And they should be really fragile. This one doesn't quite do it, but some of them break like glass when it's completely done. And that's what you're looking for. And what that does, these are really porous, microscopically really porous. I heard somewhere around like a pound of biochar has like an acre of carbon. I might be not exactly correct on ththose numbers, but it's something like that. It's a huge number. Huge amount of surface area microscopically on here. And what that does is it gives a place for the bacteria to live and gives a place for micronutrients to like lock onto because of ions and chemistry that we don't need to get into that kind of detail. That's not what this video is for. There's lots of videos out there that explain more detail. But then what we can use it for is throwing in the bottom of our chicken coops. I've used it before putting under the quail in the winter because I don't tractor them in the winter. Then you take that and add it to your compost, and it has all that bacteria and stuff in there. You can add it just how it is to your compost, and it'll give a place for bacteria and stuff to live. Then when you add that compost to your garden bed, or you can take the mulch that you used in your chicken coop that has this in there and use it as mulch on top of your garden bed. Either way, you're providing, nailed on a stick, you're providing a good place for a lot of the bacteria and micronutrients to hang out, and in the process a lot of surface area, and it also helps hold on to moisture, and it keeps micronutrients and nitrogen and stuff from evaporating from your compost and from your soil. So it's awesome. It also takes, if you would just take this mulch and let it rot, like the guy who legally dumped it down the street, it as it rots, all the nitrogen and then later most of the carbon in it actually evaporates in the atmosphere. And if you're worried about that kind of stuff because you were told to, it's you want to keep it locked up into the garden, into the ground, in the soil as much as possible. Or if you are like me, I just don't want that resource wasted in the atmosphere where it's not being used. I want to put it in the ground where plants can use it. And that's the same thing with like all carbon dioxide. I ideally want it turned into biomass in the ground so it can be used. But that's a discussion for a later day. So at 7 o'clock yesterday evening, it got really windy and we had a wind advisory. So I grabbed the garden hose and put the fire out so it didn't blow around and spread anywhere. And it's 11 o'clock now, so that's what, 17 hours? And it's still smoking and off-gassing. Look at that. And it's definitely not steam. And it doesn't smell like smoke. It definitely smells like wood gas. Now I can't get down there and see. Let me put you back on the tripod and then grab the shovel so we can see what's going on in there. Oh man, look at that. That's pretty hot. And now that it's exposed to oxygen, it's starting to burn. That's a really good sign. That's what we want from this stuff. Let's put another scoop in there. And restart the fire. Unfortunately, I didn't get this caught really well on video, or at all on video. But I noticed when I pulled the lid off to check it, I was getting a lot of ash down here in this corner. Or not really corner, it's round, but in this area down here. And what the ash means is there's oxygen being introduced and it's burning. Well, that's going to burn up all the biochar, and that'll ruin all of our progress. So I looked around the outside and noticed we got a hole in it. It rusted through. And so I pulled it off, hosed it down with water. The bottom turned into pretty nice biochar. There is some that didn't get completely converted in there, but we're gonna try again. We bought a barrel. Hold on a second. So for a couple of bucks off of Facebook, we got this. It came from an industrial, industrial commercial recycling place. This used to contain ethyl alcohol, and it contained it was 190 proof, 180 proof, something like that. Basically, it was a gallon of Everclear used industrially. We filled it full of water and left the lid off of it because it reeked of alcohol. And this is going to be our new biochar maker once we get the lid cut off, but that's for the next video. So I hope you follow, like, and subscribe. Do that so you get the notification when I turn this into the biochar maker and start making more biochar. And if you enjoy this kind of stuff, check me out on Telegram, and the link for that's in the description. And remember, we prepare today so we can prosper tomorrow.